In this podcast, I'm joined by JJ Ducart and special guest from Whitetail Cribs, Jake Hofer. We talk about the day we spent today at the Deer Society studio and Illusion office. We did a Whitetail podcast where we broke down all kinds of strategies for October, and we're giving away a Phase 5 pack. So to get entered to win, comment Phase down below on this YouTube video, and good luck. Enjoy the podcast.
The Deer Society podcast is brought to you by Illusion Hunting Systems, Onyx Hunt, Reveal Cellular Cameras, 10-Point Crossbows, Prime Archery, Loophole Optics, G5 Broadheads, Osseo Gear, Raw Frozen Scents, and HHA.
Well, big day, lots going on here at the Deer Society studio in the Illusion headquarters. Jake, welcome, man.
Hey, thanks for having me here. It's been a lot of fun. You guys have been extremely welcoming. The facility's awesome. I mean, it is really cool. There's a lot of big deer here and a lot of crazy deer nuts that work here too. It's awesome.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, and we get to come here every day for work. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of play, a lot of work. But it's a great place to be. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, you guys are going to start doing like public tours once a month or something. It's worthwhile for anyone that gets an opportunity to come up here and look at it. It's worth the trip. We're on a 3-day triangle trip for Whitetail Cribs before deer season, and this was one I was really looking forward to, and it definitely didn't disappoint in any way.
They can schedule tours. We'll get Brian's cell phone number.
Brian Clary,
cell phone number. Line it up.
Yeah, so no, it's been awesome having you guys up here and just spending the day with you and shooting a Whitetail Cribs episode here at the studio and at the office. Just touring around, telling some big buck stories, checking out the warehouse, and just having some fun. We got done shooting a podcast a little bit ago. Now we get to invite you on our podcast and highlight some of the things that you do. So, just being here and filming the Cribs episode, walking around, what are some of the things that have stuck out to you here at the Deer Society office?
It's a really interesting building. When you had mentioned, like these were horse stalls, but now they're offices. The way the layout and floor plan of this office is actually really cool with the 2 conference rooms, and it just flows really nicely. And then you pop in every single office, and there's big deer in every one of them. But I mean, the obvious answer is just some of the iconic and really huge whitetails as you walk in. When you're coming in through the warehouse and you look down, you're like, oh, we're in the right spot. This is where we need to be. So I mean, just the facility is really cool, and it's just everywhere you look, there's deer and deer antlers, and it's really cool. It's been, and some of the deer too. Like a lot of these deer, anyone that's been on YouTube for any period of time has seen some of these deer on YouTube, even if it was on the thumbnail or you watched it on Facebook a long time ago. And to see some of these deer in person was really cool, just to, relay back to memory, like, oh yeah, I watched that on YouTube, and to see it here in person was really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think I counted it up. We're closing in on 150 hunt breakdowns on the Deer Society channel. And this year, I think we'll have about 30 of those bucks between legacy bucks and just our everyday kind of bucks up in offices in the hallway. I have about 30 of those on site. So it's not the whole big picture. We don't get all the bucks here, but we got quite a few. So
yes, I mean, some real iconic ones too.
Do you have a favorite deer? So obviously we have just outside the studio here the Legendary Collection. JJ's got some in there as well. But do you have a favorite buck that you've seen here today?
Oh man, they're all really cool. I mean, I had seen the Kaufman buck at some point. It might have been an ATA show a long time ago, so I've already seen that one. But Mr. Maybe is obviously that footage is. When I first watched it, it was just seared in my brain, and to see that deer in person it was really neat. When they get that big, it's like, how do you pick your favorite one? But I think Mr. Maybe is probably just an iconic deer and just such a unique frame with the brow tines. But they're all just, it's like picking your favorite kid, or it's just, they're all really cool. But that one, it was cool to see in person because I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, what's cool is like, you can walk down that hallway and you can look at those deer and you can appreciate them. But, it's cool. What we all do is we tell stories, right? You through podcasts and Whitetail Cribs and all the video stuff that you do. And obviously that's through the Deer Society, and, sharing those stories is awesome. But what's cool is, still developing, stories that are past even the stories that we tell. So like Mr. Maybe, for example, like we did a podcast with a guy named Shane Inderbo, and he showed up here and he's got a shed off of Mr. Maybe.
Crazy.
That came out of nowhere, right? Like just surfaced here in the last year. A neighbor had it, nobody knew they had it, and like it ends up coming into a deer show. He looks at it and he's like, that's a shed off the Mr. Maybe buck. And he goes through and he looks and he starts comparing trail camera photos and all these things. And sure enough, so like, I always have an appreciation for that and walking down this hallway and appreciating the deer for what they are, but then like appreciating the story behind them, so much more. I think is really cool.
It's crazy how a deer can have that many eyeballs on it, and for someone just to have the shed and not know it, or I really kind of nerd out on like the whitetail history of like things that reemerge, like the Sam Ayupa buck. I was fascinated that deer was in the basement for 30 years and hardly anyone knew about it. And it would have been, for a short period of time, it was the largest net typical ever shot for I think a 2-year period. So like those little things, I just kind of nerd out on them. And so it's kind of cool to see this in person. And for a story like that, where you find a shed that resurfaced from a really large and well-known whitetail, it's just crazy that still happens. And it also makes me wonder how many other crazy pieces of a whitetail history, because not to sound cheesy, but like a lot of it is true whitetail history in the world we live in. Like how much whitetail history is in an attic, in a basement, nailed on a barn somewhere? Like I think about it a lot.
Well, I don't know if you know Klaus Lebrecht at all, but like Klaus is he's got Antlers by Klaus. He's been on the podcast, and he is an antler replicator that's replicated pretty much all the biggest bucks and trophy animals in the world. And the stories that he has are incredible. And there's so many stories like the Mr. Maybe story that date back on all these world records, and just like that whitetail history is so cool. If you don't know Klaus or haven't heard about him, you should check him out, because he's got stories that would blow your mind on some of those bucks.
And you said you had a series that you had historical buck stories.
Yeah, well, we've done some big buck profiles of iconic deer in the past, like the Illinois Roadkill's one. We've done quite a few of them actually, and Klaus's website's actually really cool when you can sort it by the different like levels of deer and the little snippet story, and so all that stuff's really cool. And it's this is fascinating to get a missing part of a story that we all think we know how the story goes, or like the deer it's fun to pick up the pieces that we don't know, and there's enough crazy whitetail people to go track down those missing pieces.
No doubt. So tell me a little bit more. So maybe if there's somebody out there listening that hasn't seen what you do, give me a little breakdown of what that looks like. Whitetail Cribs, the podcast, all the things that kind of you have your hands in.
Yes, Whitetail Cribs brought us here today, and we've done, as a team, we've done well over 100 of those episodes. And it actually, I was just talking about it last night when we finished up another episode, and we were with a guy named Scott Buckley to record a podcast in person. This was probably 2018 or 2019. And we went through his house and he was like telling all these awesome stories, all these deer. And we recorded the podcast. Like the podcast was really good, but really what was most fascinating, or where I had most fun just being there, was hearing all his stories and all the passion. And, like when you go for the guests to go and like relive all their hunts, maybe they haven't done that in a long time, because it's kind of an obscure thing to like, well, this deer I shot on this date this year, and I remember whatever was happening in my life at that time. And so I think the guests really enjoy it too. And just to be around that's really fun. So the Whitetail Cribs, we've been doing for quite some time, and we used to do one every single week, which was crazy. But now it's like eight a year. And so that's what we do now. And then the Whitetail podcast, and then I do a bunch of different stuff. I'm a licensed broker in the state of Illinois on the Whitetail Mastery Academy. And then I do some stuff with Wire to Hunt as well. So I'm just a whitetail guy. Like I'm so blessed to live in the world that I do. And like I'm extremely grateful that all these things merge in some form or fashion, and extremely thankful. So that's a snippet of what I do, I guess, day to day. Yeah. One easy way to say it.
Right on. So, as we get into October here, you've been on the road for the last 3 days. Are you getting in the tree stand when you get home?
So Illinois opens October 1. But so when this goes live, I'll absolutely have been in a tree. I'm really excited. I'm probably the most excited I've been in a long time. There's some good deer that are running around. That's obviously a motivation of that, but I'm just excited to get a little bit better this year, have some more opportunities, play the game of cat and mouse, and just relish the moment, because it goes by so fast, where you look forward to it all year. I know everyone has said this, but when you really break down, okay, late October, there's going to be a cold front, maybe 2 or 3 really good days. Okay, so then the peak of a rut, 2 or 3 really good days. And like you really break down the season, it's like, man, maybe there's 12 or 15 exceptional days out of the whole season.
Yeah.
That's really not that many days. So like I'm just eager and ready to soak in those special days that can be ingrained in your mind forever. I mean, we just finished Whitetail Cribs. Like the days that you've shot deer, they're ingrained in your mind forever. Like you remember what the weather was, what the wind was. Like it's just crazy how it just leaves a imprint on your brain. And I chase those moments, so I'm excited for it.
100%.
Yeah, the cool thing about this Cribs episode, which we'll get to see here shortly, is we have so much content on the Deer Society side of things that we're giving you guys all that raw footage, those breakdowns you can layer on top. Most of the Cribs you do is probably more in the home setting where a guy maybe isn't filming everything.
Yeah.
So maybe a little different vibe on this episode.
I'm really excited about it, and that's when we were talking about it. It's really unique to have gigabytes and gigabytes of supporting footage to showcase the story so people can get a feel for it. In the past, we've had some that, maybe film hunts or maybe just film them for themselves, and it definitely adds another layer to the episode. But with what you guys are graciously providing to us, I'm very excited to see what the finished product looks like, because I think you guys will enjoy the heck out of it too. I know you had edited in the past. It's like, man, we get to watch our work, but we didn't have to edit it, so this is kind of nice.
Pretty nice, yeah.
So we're doing that lifting for this one here.
Right on. When are you coming back next week?
You're right.
Well, no, that's awesome. We're super excited to see it. And again, I like the fact that, you mentioned like it's cool for the people that you're going to their places too and having tell those stories, because it is cool. It's fun to relive those memories and, just walking around and even hearing JJ's again and, hearing the guys on the alumni side just talking about their bucks and getting excited about it. Like that's what it's all about. And honestly, like, kudos to you for what you do, because that is so important, I think, in this, day and age. Like we as hunters, like everybody's got an opinion. You get on social media and everybody's a critic about something, you should hunt this way or you should hunt this way. And like we forget sometimes to just take a step back and celebrate not only, the hunter and the harvest, but the deer and the story and the memory, like taking time to celebrate that and build stories around all of it. Like that's what's important. So kudos to you and obviously, you guys and all of us here at Deer Society.
Yeah, so many stories, and we breezed through them in the Whitetail Cribs episode. Mm-hmm. You'll have a hard time finding a little clip to put on top of those, but hunt breakdowns are large 20-minute segments, and people can just keep watching those. Hey, maybe they should watch them all. Maybe they should watch Cribs and stop. So that's this buck and go watch the hunt breakdown.
We'll have to, you guys make a cheat sheet of if you watch like a concert or something on YouTube where they have the timestamps for each song, you go in there, send us the timestamps. Like if you want to watch this deer, we'll put a timestamp for it.
Yeah, it is packed in there. Do you ever film your hunts? You ever get into that side of it, or
not to any level of seriousness? I've thought about it. Man, I just enjoyed being out there with my own thoughts and like not messing with other stuff. I do have some form of regret because like there's some hunts that like I can remember, at least maybe even what I think I remember. Like if it was truly filmed, it might not be what I think. And it's like, well, actually this happened. But there's definitely, I have the utmost respect for people that film hunts because it is extremely hard. It is a whole other element on top of trying to kill a specific deer or a deer that gets you excited, and then you throw in all these different things. Man, I don't know if I'm ready for that. But I've like from a memory perspective, I think it would be really special just to go back and like relive that raw emotion and like, oh yeah, remember when he followed that doe in there? And then just all the other stuff that as time progresses, like nostalgia, I feel like hits heavier and heavier for everyone. I mean, if you just look at what people buy, I mean, we have gentlemen here with the old school Gander Mountain, like, oh yeah. It's nostalgic, right? Like it makes you feel a certain way. So I think even having the footage to look back 20 or 30 years later, I know I'm probably going to regret not doing anything, but it's definitely crossed my mind.
Yeah, it is pretty special, and you get to see all those memories and pull them back up, and things are not always what you thought they were when you watch the footage, but yeah, it ingrains a new memory with the footage in your mind. So pretty cool.
That kind of brings up an interesting question. So you talk about what's nostalgic to you. If you could look back to like when you first started hunting or getting involved in the outdoors, like is there one thing that stands out to you that was like that you remember? And it could be something that you see or you hear or a smell, like any kind of sense that you remember from when you first started hunting.
Man, there's a lot of memories. I was really thankful my dad took me hunting when I was super young. So like some of my earliest memories are from deer hunting. So, I mean, just the smell of dirt, honestly, you get into some damp dirt and you're like, oh yeah, it smells like it's deer hunting time. That's such an obscure thing. But, man, it's just been, I've been really blessed I grew up in Illinois. So like, I've just had a lot of opportunity. I grew up on a small deer farm too. So like we had deer in our backyard. So like there's a little picture of me like pulling back my little tiny little Indian bow, right? with our deer, like, posing for the picture. So like some of my earliest memories are related to deer. So it's just been kind of my whole life. But one thing that I'm personally thankful for too, when I was starting out hunting with my dad, it's a lot different than what it is now for maybe kids that are just getting introduced into hunting. Like we hunted on the ground. We tried to spot and stalk. Like I was 8 or 9 years old. So I was like, I don't know, 3.5 foot tall. So it's like, you don't see that? Like, no, I can't see over the grass, So like, I think that progression and like that growing up that way, I'm really thankful for now looking back that I was like not as like developed and like go here because of this. And it was just kind of like hunting on permission ground. And I'm really thankful for that. At the time, it would have been like, man, it'd be really cool to have a box blind standing corn right here, but we didn't. But that definitely, as I get older, carries more weight than what it did, 10 years ago.
Right on. How about you?
Yeah, I think my most fond memories, probably just that pickup that my dad had, a 92 Chevy, and riding around in that and just being in that truck and stopping for snacks. Not even so much the hunt, because we weren't very successful. We're just warming up in the truck, driving around, and do remember some of the hunts. And I remember where we used to hunt. It was a lease, probably 25 years ago when I first started hunting. And I don't know, I couldn't find it right now. If you told me, go find this place I used to hunt, I want to go back there sometime. And I was telling my wife we're on a road trip, we were kind of driving in that area, southeast Minnesota. I was like, how cool would it be to go back there now with what in the hunting style? Because I didn't shoot I didn't shoot a deer there, but it was that's how I grew up hunting, was at this certain lease. And if I could go back there now, see what it is, see what the encounters were, what was the wind direction, what was even going on back then, and try to see what would happen now. That would be just sweet. I got to figure out where this place was first, so I got to ask my dad how to get there. But, just going back to that spot, remembering, we sat in this little wood thicket, this little island, or I remember this draw. I can picture it. What was it really? I don't really know. I can't really think about it, but I remember being there, and that was my hunting. And get cold real fast, head back to the truck, warm up a little bit, maybe go for another hour.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, it'd be cool to kind of go back at some point and kind of recreate those scenarios. And I know, that's interesting. One of the last times I went to Pennsylvania, I can remember distinctly where I shot my first deer with a bow. And it was this little 9-point buck, and I was with my dad, and I was 12 years old. And one of the last times I was there, I drove by that spot, and it's a housing development now.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, I was trying to figure out, pinpoint exactly where it was. And all I could picture was how funny would it be to and there was a house right on top of the spot. So walk in this house and talk to these people, or talk to the kids in there, and picture where you're standing right now in your house, in your bedroom. I shot a buck here one time, but just crazy how things change and how your perception changes, on hunting and the experiences you have and the things you learn. One of the things for me that's so nostalgic, and I can, I'll still sometimes and I'll get crap for it, but I'll wear face paint. When I go out hunting, and people always give me crap. Why do you wear face paint? You look like an idiot. Doesn't make a difference. Whatever. And I don't care what your opinion is on face paint or not or whatever. And I'm not saying it changes the world. There's one reason why I wear face paint. It's because when I was a little kid and I went hunting with my dad, he would paint his entire face and paint my face. He would start with a full brown layer of face paint, and then he would paint green and black all over it. And I can remember that smell, and it's the most nostalgic thing. So today I won't paint my whole face like that, but I'll still wear face paint just because it always takes me back.
Just want a little bit of that smell.
To that. Yeah. I mean, it's just that's it. So, and I can remember getting home, and it would take me 3 hours to wash it off my face. And I'd scrub it
like crazy.
It was brutal. My face would be raw, but those things are so cool. It's just little things you remember like that,
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's something that everyone should actively think about throughout the season too. Like, man, you're going to look back, like maybe today didn't go right, but like you're going to look back 20 years from now and be like, man, I wish I could do that. I mean, even, like, we didn't kill anything, but I'd just love to go back, right? Like that's the perfect example. And so like, I think it's easy to get caught up in just everything throughout the season. It's like, man, you're going to really miss this day at some point. I mean, maybe you'll miss like, man, I used to call my dad every day right after first phone call after kill a deer, call my dad. Like there might be a day where you don't do that anymore. And like, you just have to really live in the moment.
Yeah. Well, we just talked about it in the podcast that we just did. It's like, how do you, if you still have a tag in your pocket, you ask the question, how do you like move on throughout the season? And I think, you brought a positive mindset and just like taking a step back, understanding why we hunt. It's not a competitive sport, right? Like we hunt for ourselves. We hunt to be out there. We hunt for the experience. Obviously, we all want to shoot a big buck.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, but it's that experience that we get to look back on and those memories that we make each and every time we go back there. Like that's what it's about.
And every time I shoot a buck, I'm sure it's with you guys too, it goes so fast, especially with what we do for filming. It's like, oh, I got to get this shot, this shot, this shot, this shot, photos, this, clean, back, butchered, blah, blah, blah. It's like you can hardly just sit there and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Not that that's a bad thing, because all that footage is great and you get to look at it and enjoy it even stronger maybe later, but it's like, man, we really rushed through that post-shot time period quite a bit. So it's like, it's tough to just take a breath. You got 30 minutes left to light. You shot the buck and you have to get all this content to create the hunt.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, you didn't enjoy it, didn't sit down and just take it in. So maybe we got to do that a little bit more.
You can do that. You just got to hit them back a little further and then we overnight it. I'm just kidding. I do not recommend anyone doing that. It's just a joke.
It just goes so fast. Just goes so fast.
Yeah, it absolutely does. You got to soak it in and enjoy it while you can. But, kind of, Jake, talking a little bit more about what you do. Do you have, I'm sure you've seen so many cool places. I know you mentioned like, over 100 Whitetail Cribs now?
Yeah.
Are there any that really stick out in your mind? Like, man, that place was just unbelievable.
There's been a lot of those, honestly. And honestly, the people that invited us into their home to do it, like some outstanding, wonderful people too. Like that's the other whole part of Whitetail Cribs that we get to experience that, maybe people don't fully get to pick up on from just watching on YouTube. But I mean, there's one that's just crazy. It's a Mark Peterson out of Michigan. He has an incredible trophy room. Like it's got to be one of one in terms of just the magnitude and everything else. That one sticks out to me for sure. But there's been a lot of them that are just like, man, you leave and it's like, man, I had a really good time there and I really enjoyed their company. I really enjoyed the stories and they were excited that we were there. Like those are always, a lot of fun. But I mean, Spooks Bands will be live this year too. Like that one was crazy. It was really welcoming, super gracious. We spent a lot of time there. There was a lot of B-roll to get there. I mean, that one is just crazy when you walk in there and you walk down the hallway and then I think it's about a 3,000 square foot, trophy room of just, like here's the whitetails, here's from here. It's just like, it was crazy. It was really cool to see it in person. I mean, the video I know is not going to showcase how crazy that was in person, but it was super cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right on. JJ, what was the most enjoyable part of today for you?
I had to do a little bit of homework because I thought, well, how many bucks do I got to talk about? Do I remember all the details? Probably not. No, it all came back pretty good. I think it went quick. I mean, just real brief highlight of all the bucks, and it's cool to look back because we're here every day, and we never sit there and say, oh, let's look at this rack for a second, and let's look back and watch this hunt, or think about the details that went into that one. So it was a moment to look at the deer and think about them again. And right now they're just, they collect dust a lot, and they need to be memorialized. Remember them a little bit more. So it's nice to just at least take a little bit of time and walk through them and relive it again. So a couple that I haven't thought about for many years.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, let's talk just briefly here about whitetail stuff. It's going on right now. We're obviously in October. Jake, you got to ask us a lot of questions in your podcast about, different strategies and different things like that. When it comes to October right now, like no specific date necessarily, I think later October, weather, okay, could be good, could be bad. Like, where's your head at just moving through this month of October from a hunting standpoint in general?
It's a lot of excitement. It's a lot of, man, I wish I had a deer like pinned down right now because I know it's a really good opportunity, but maybe I don't. But man, it's just a really exciting time. Like the excitement is building almost every single day. You're waiting for that front. And so when we talked about it on the Whitetail podcast, but the second half of October is the best 2-week period to run trail cameras. I mean, I've ran a lot of cameras, and there's always a flyer that shows up that typically sticks around at some period during the rut. And from a historical data standpoint, like hopefully it doesn't die, because it'd be pretty tough to put all that plan together on the fly. Could happen, but it solidifies over time. But man, I just really like getting intel. This past year, I live on 40 acres, and I passed the biggest deer on my own home farm in October. Like it was October 16th, and did everything I wanted to. And I was like, man, that's pretty cool, to where it's like you're starting to build the mousetrap and starting to have the opportunity where I have struggled in the past, where it's like, well, if you have this food source and you develop it, it worked. I passed them, but it was just really cool to see that happen. So, I mean, I'm also at this time period, I'm waiting for one to show up. And so like another example is based off historical data. Like I have 4 stands hung for this thing for the different wins. I have an idea what he did last year. So like, dude, it's just like hurry and wait. And right now, like I'm ready, but I want to be as strategic as possible. And then worst comes to worst, I have November to fall on. So that's kind of that's where my head's always at.
Yeah, good position to be in for sure. JJ, where's your head at right now?
Well, a lot of variables. You know, we pre-recorded this, so there's a scenario where we're all tagged out. We're all tagged out right now, and that could be possible depending on when this launches, or we all have not tagged out, and the best is yet to come.
That's right.
That's what we said in the other podcast. So, and really it is. I mean, October, November is what we wait for all season. If you want more detail on this time, the Whitetail podcast, I mean, we dove in real hard on October scenarios and best practices and all the good strategy stuff. But cold fronts October, like I said on that podcast, I mean, we've had over half of our success likely in the October cold front time period.
Yeah, check out the Whitetail podcast for sure. That's launching right around the same time, if not launched already, because we dive deep into this time of year and October strategies and some different scenarios. I will say I like the different questions, like the different let's play a game. I like that. The problem is if we do that on here and Mike's in on the podcast, like it might stray a little bit. Like we can't play too many games.
Not too many games, no.
JJ's getting serious and shutting down the games, but well. We'll wrap this one up. We'll make it short. Jake, anything else that you want to add before we kind of sign off on the Deer Society podcast here?
No, I really appreciate you guys. It's a lot of fun, and I encourage everyone to go watch the Whitetail Cribs episode. And we have a lot of really good episodes going live this year. So, get hooked into it. We're going to have a lot of other great episodes, and just want to say thank you so much. I really enjoyed today.
Right on. Well, thank you. Thanks for everything you do, guys. You heard them. Check out the Whitetail Cribs episode of the Deer Society launching. Just check out that platform in general, the Whitetail podcast. Tons of cool information on there. And keep checking back in. We're still releasing hunt breakdowns every single week. New content this fall. So big bucks are hitting the ground. Lots of stuff going on. Best time of the year. Thanks for tuning in, and good luck out there in the woods.
The Deer Society podcast is brought to you by Illusion Hunting Systems, Onyx Hunt, Reveal Cellular Cameras, 10-Point Crossbows, Prime Archery, Loophole Optics, G5 Broadheads, Osseo Gear, Raw Frozen Scents, and HHA.